Everything today is designed to make life easier. Food arrives in minutes, entertainment never ends. You don't even need to leave your house anymore. So why do so many people feel mentally tired, distracted, unmotivated, financially stressed all the time? That's the strange part. Modern life became more comfortable, but people somehow feel weaker than ever. And almost nobody talks about why. Because the problem isn't just laziness. It's that convenience slowly changes how your brain works.
Years ago, daily life required effort. People moved more, waited more, focused longer, got bored sometimes. Now, every uncomfortable moment gets instantly removed. Hungry? Delivery app. Bored? Infinite scrolling. Tired? Instant entertainment. Lonely? Social media distraction. Modern life constantly protects people from discomfort. And at first, that feels amazing. Until you realize something dangerous. The less discomfort people experience, the harder normal life starts to feel. Most people think they have a motivation problem, but many actually have an attention problem. Apps today compete aggressively for human focus. Every notification, every short video, every recommendation is designed to keep people emotionally stimulated. And over time, the brain adapts to constant dopamine, which makes silence feel boring, work feel harder, patience feel painful, long-term goals feel exhausting. That's why people struggle to focus now more than ever, not because they're weak naturally, but because distraction became industrialized.
Comfort itself isn't bad. The problem starts when people become dependent on convenience for everything. Because then, small difficulties start feeling huge. Cooking feels exhausting. Reading feels difficult. Saving money feels painful. Exercise feels impossible. And slowly, discipline gets replaced by convenience. That's where people lose control of their lives quietly. Not in one dramatic moment, but through thousands of tiny, easy decisions. This also explains why modern life drains money so fast. Convenience almost always costs extra. Delivery fees, subscriptions, premium services, impulse purchases. And when people are mentally tired, they spend emotionally, not logically. That's why financially stressed people often buy more convenience. Not because they're irresponsible, because exhaustion reduces resistance. And modern systems know that. Think about what happens after a long, stressful day. Most people don't recover. They escape. Scrolling, streaming, ordering food, watching random videos for hours. And while it feels relaxing temporarily, the brain never fully resets. So the next day starts with lower focus again, which creates more stress, which creates more distraction. And that loop repeats endlessly. This is why many people today feel disconnected from themselves. Not because life became harder physically, but because modern life became overwhelming mentally. People consume nonstop. Information, opinions, content, stimulation, but rarely sit quietly long enough to think clearly. That's why so many people feel emotionally numb, mentally scattered, constantly tired, even without doing physically difficult work. The people gaining the most advantage today are not always the smartest. They're usually the people who can still focus,
delay gratification, control impulses, stay disciplined. Because in a distracted world, focus became rare, and rare things become valuable. That's why attention is now one of the most important forms of power. The scary part? Most people never realize what's happening. They think they're lazy, unmotivated, broken, when in reality, their environment is constantly training them to avoid discomfort, training them to react instantly, training them to consume constantly. And once people lose the ability to tolerate discomfort, they lose control over money, habits, focus, long-term growth. Modern life didn't just become more convenient. It became more addictive. And people who never learn to control comfort eventually become controlled by it. That's why awareness matters. Because once you recognize the trap, you stop living automatically. And if this video made you think differently, remember, you're getting this knowledge for free. Most people stay distracted forever. So don't just scroll endlessly. Subscribe to Silent Investor Code and start thinking differently.